Okay, it says I'm live. I don't know if anybody's here or if I'm talking to myself, but that's okay. It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last time. Okay, so here we are, Power Hour edition, and I have no idea what editions are going to be coming, so stay tuned. It's a work in progress. And let's do a quick review of what happened today and see where we are. But I just want to point out that if you watch the video from this morning, I mean, I hate to sound like this, but what's true is true. If we watch the video from this morning, and if you look at my daily plan, this, by the way, this is a combination of Friday and Monday. And this is customer position, customer short between the calls and the puts. This is market maker long. That's a pretty clear fly structure. It's going to take a lot to break 5,900 is all I'm saying. Okay. That said, and there'll be, obviously more granular updates along the way. All right, let's go to 0 DTE. And, okay, this is position number. Good, and we can look at that because that'll paint the picture of what happened today during the day. So quick review. And people, if anybody's there on X or YouTube, type it in. I got something private chat. I got a hello from Dennis. Hi, Dennis. So quick review of the morning, and you can check the YouTube video. We were in this area here. Hi, Sosa. So we were in this area here this morning. Just a quick recap, right? And we try. I don't remember the exact timing. Well, actually, I can find the exact timing here. And we kind of tried to get up near the top of the channel here. We had that 59.70, 580 stall, and I'll show you the trading view version of this in a minute. And we couldn't really, we managed to get over 6,000 for a second here, I think, earlier in the day, and we pretty much got slammed right down over here, up here. Now, the if then was, just to bring it back, if over 6,000, especially later in the day, we said that, then we have this path up here, market maker short. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. That's why it doesn't look right. Let's take two, folks. That's why I look backwards. That looks better. This flipped. This is not the profile we had in the morning. This flipped. But what we do have that was here in the morning is this. The 6,000 calls. Now, you see a lot of those have been monetized. It's not the size that it was. There's a lot more there. And now it's going to be a tough slog through this. Okay, now that the positioning has changed, doesn't really show up down here. I maybe have to refresh it. But positioning has changed, and where we are right now, fighting our way through this positive gamma. Now let's talk about the dump, because that was fun. That was fun. So we broke below that 75 area, and we had the magnet down to 50, 60 in here. And I remember in the morning, things might have moved. We had supportive features down here at 35. They were. Stuff has changed. Well, I have this on position number. Yeah, so position numbers have changed. We had that supportive feature down here at 30 and at 20, and as we came down here, and then of course VIX spiked, and that accelerated the move, etc. And we got down to bottom of the chop. Look at that, folks. Oh, we undercut my line by a point. Bottom of the chop zone. Now, that doesn't mean that we couldn't go back down. If Ivy had kept spiking, if people hadn't closed or opportunistic puts, if more Iran war news would have come out, who knows? But that's not what happened. We retook the 50-60 area. I told one of my subscribers, um, once we retook the 60 area, I went full quant tuition cowboy and sold put credit spreads down at 35.20. All this stuff down here. All this stuff down here. I also had a fly that I put on in the morning. I'm pretty sure I put it on YouTube. A 15 wide 50, 35 belly. That was a kind of a supportish area. 50, 35, 20. As we went down and came down here, I monetized the 50 long put, made a nice profit, bought a put right around. Actually, I waited till we kind of popped back up. Um, Bought a 40 put for less than I paid for the 30 for the 50 put, and then sold puts underneath. Turned it into what I call a Frankenstein fly, pieces of old flies and positions cobbled together like the Frankenstein model was cobbled together. Okay. So, but anyway, that's kind of fancy footwork, and that's kind of the numbers plus the chart plus the intuition plus the feel. So anyway, here we are now. So the question is, first question is over or under 6,000, right? So let's take a look at that. Hey, Dennis, you want to go on the stage and talk? Oh, from TWI. Shout out to TWI. Um, great, great service, scalpers. I have not really an association with them. I post some stuff there, and I look at some of their stuff. They're great. I just don't sit there and do that. My brother sits there and does that kind of thing. I don't. When I do, I make money. Um, my boy Ivan, who's who's also on options depth. That's what he uses for his levels. That's what I use for my SPX levels. My boy Ivan is there now, and Space Monkey is a beast. I have a great crew there. So yeah, what's true is true. So anyway, getting back to what's going on here. So here we are in this zone. It's 308, and so it's charm time. So let's see what's going on charm time. I hope I got a couple people watching. So let's go to charm time. So here we are. It doesn't really matter what happened here because that's going to change. If I do a whole review of the day, then we're not going to make money right now. One of the subscribers this morning had, or one of the viewers this morning, I don't know if it was a subscriber or not, we were talking about pins, and most people were picking pins down here, which was reasonable given the setup. Somebody picked something up here, I don't remember what. If you are, reveal yourself, quote unquote. And that's a good lotto. I took it. I closed it already. I took a lotto up here like a I can pull it up on my. I have the corpse, the closed order over here on my Tasty Works. But somebody picked a pin up here because if we're over 6,000 now at the end of the day, what happens to those deltas? Well, as we go up, those deltas go. Well, especially when we came from below. We came from below over here. Those deltas go to from a point 0.3, point 0.4, whatever they were, to a point 0.5. Now they're going to a 1. They're going to a 1 delta. And that pushes us up. But we have remember we saw the short calls up there? They weren't there before. They weren't there in the morning. But this kind of change, this changes the structure with reality, as positions change. Um, so now we're in this zone. This can charm up to +1 and send us up. This charms to -1, sends us down. Here we have these supportive features right around 6,000, the round number, and here's where we are. Now, of course, if we can get over here, over 6020, we can park in here. If we get slammed below 6,000, and then the calls up here, the deltas up here decay, then we come down that 95, which was a feature in the morning, and of course below it, then we end up back where we started from. Nothing to see here, folks. And that's basically the setup. Now let's take a look over here again. Let's see what my boy Mental Q's stuff looks like here. Not the end of the day. We want to see the intraday update. They got it. We might as well see it. Update the script. Let's see what we got going on here. Do I use more than one service? Yeah, I do. I got data from a lot of people, and there's things I like about most of them. And so, their secret source, whatever, identifies the same thing. You superimpose that on my levels, and you kind of see we're in this zone here. This was sweet for selling at the end of the day, in the morning down here. And so here we are. So now I'm going to turn it to you folks. Let's start with over under 6,000. I'm going to see if I can launch a Twitter poll. Let's see if we can get anybody have an idea as I'm writing this. SPX close over. We're doing the over under, folks. Choice 1 is over 6,000. Choice 2 under 6,000. I'm going to add one more. Choice 3, 6,000 plus or minus. I'm going to give you guys an easy one, plus or minus 5. Poll is launched. Okay, 605, over 6,000. That's the way it's looking. That's the way it's looking. So we have over 6,000, and that seems to be the consensus, and it kind of makes sense. Now, just for fun, let's talk about what might happen normal, quote unquote, not like crazy stuff that might make us go under 6,000. I'll tell you what my thought is. If if then you read my stuff, it's always if then. Let me mute this. Don't go on something else. If VIX spikes back up toward 21, then the delta position would change. Not even 21, even 20.5. So if there's some kind of last minute hedging in case in case people get upset that we're gonna probably that Trump is probably going to take out Khomeini. He told them, "We know where you are. We haven't killed you yet." I don't know. Not going to get political, but I don't know what the response is going to be to this. But if people don't get a little bit nervous about the response and they decide to buy some protection, and let's look at what VVIX is doing as a quick. You see, during the sell-off, we had that VVIX spike. There was some big buy, not big, some buyers of like the what was it, the 22.29 and 21.29 VIX calls into January. I mean, not January, excuse me, into July. Here they are, the 22.28. See that? This is what I call caveman style. A lot of what I do is not. I don't have a scanner. I don't have all that fancy stuff. I just go chain hunting. That's what we used to do before we had this modern equipment. We went chain hunting. And so, looking at the chain hunting, what did we see? We saw this came in right around a little bit before the spike, and then more came in during the spike. And so, here's what's kind of going on, and that kind of gives us some clear ideas of levels. If we just do it, if we order by strike, let me look at the open interest and just kind of get a feel, a quantitative feel of where the danger and the flip points are. 20. No shock that 20 acts this way. There's 104,000 contracts there. So that's your like big inflection point. End of story, full stop. 24. Are they longs or are they other sides of spreads? I don't know, but that's kind of gives us a zone, right? And I do know that there was a lot of 22s coming in. So we could think market makers short gamma, market makers short gamma, head toward it. They have to buy VIX futures, pull away from it, and they sell it. And maybe a path up here toward 24, 25. Now, 25 is a whole nother kettle of fish. I'm really not sure. I mean, I'm not sure the other stuff too, but I don't know how much of that's long and how much of that's the other side of spreads. If I can get some intel on that, maybe Nomura, maybe people have notes, maybe my buddy Yamco has it on his scanner or something. Maybe we could find that out. So, but what I'm saying, that is a long-winded way of saying it. I can be long-winded sometime. What I'm saying is, unless we see something happen in the vol space that makes that changes the delta structure of what's above us, it changes this. Then we're stuck in here. Could have bought I should have left what I had. Could have bought a 90, 10, 20 fly early in the morning or even when we were down here for like 10 cents a quarter, whatever, and made bank. Now, Dennis, did you want to jump on the stage, by the way? Want to say something? Or are you just hanging out, which is fine? No, but now I didn't do that. Let me show you what I did in the morning. And again, this isn't to show off because I did these small, like one contract, more for science to learn. And it's all on YouTube. It's all videoed. So I mean, this was a fly that I put in for 165 credit. I bought it back at 45 cents. This isn't the one that I Frankensteined. I'm going back too far. Let's look at today. Yeah, got $2 for that. Now I put these puts in as a wish trade. They did show 20 cents at the time. I said, if we get there, I'll take it. Where are the calls? I know I had some calls in here as a wish trade too. Calls. Oh, here's I'm buying them back. But the 35.55 calls I had in as a wish trade for 55 cents. But what I wanted to show you, if I could find it, was the call structure. Here was the call structure. Let me. Here was the call structure. This cost me 55 cents or whatever it was. I don't remember what it cost me to buy it. But the structure was 59.55. Well, actually, okay, so I want to do opposite. That's similar. Okay, I guess I can't because it's closed. Well, just mentally flip that around. 55.95.05, playing for the pin in there, and then over '05, making it a little wider and breaking the wing up to 20 because what we have in the morning, we had that 20-25 stall area. So if I had that on, if I wanted to close it, I could close it for $1.65. What did I pay when I put it on? I can't find it. What did I put it on for a credit? I don't really know. It looks like I put it on for a credit. Yeah. I got 55-cent credit for this. And now I can get another credit. Now it's moving up against me. So, this stuff's changing. I'm not the guy that holds these to the end, paper hands. So we got a credit for this, 55 cents, and we can get out again for a credit because of this going ITM from OTM and this kind of wider tent decaying. And yeah, I mean, if I was still in it, I wouldn't leave it on. I don't think I would have to think about it. And what would I think about? Let's see what's going on here. See, I wouldn't want to risk if I was in a position like that. I wouldn't want to risk this going ITM and sending us even further. Now it's not a ton of buying here. We could easily get trapped below it. So that's So we have all overs. I don't have anybody. No unders. No undertakers. Come on. Although, oh, I can't hear you because I didn't put you on the stage. Okay. Somebody wanted to ask something, so I put him on the stage. If he wants to unmute, he can. But let me see what the question is. The August BWB I mentioned next, IV seems to be much higher than RV. The August BWB, you talking about the the June 27th BWB? I'd have to look back and see which one it was, unless you have it. Unless you have it in front of you. August for 80 cents. If you can dig it up, I don't remember. I think I was thinking out loud. I may or may not have that position on right now. I got a lot of positions, but so please dig it up. IV is much higher than RV right now. Uh, IV high now, or is it low? I think IV is normal to high-ish. In August, IV tends to spike. August is one of those months. But if you can go back and look at the so somebody has asking a question, I can't put it on the screen. I talked about an August trade. I don't remember if I had it on because I have a lot of these onesies, or if I was thinking about doing it. I don't have it on here. Man, I need to put them in from now on so I have them. The duh. I thought you were talking about SPX. Yes. Oh no, I didn't do it here. I did it. I did it in. I did it in Think or Swim, and it'll be hard for you to see because it was a mess. Cause I could not because it's a mess because you don't want to see this, kids. That's actually not too bad compared to what I know. Yeah. Here's what I got going on for August in VIX. I got lots of pieces all thrown together. But what we will do, we'll model it out right here, right now. Whoops. That'll be fun. So the August trade was 22, oh, 25, 29, right? That's right. That's right. The other one was a July trade. It was 25, 29. It's not letting me do it. Just like it didn't do it before. It didn't let me do the fly here. There we go. 29. It was for 8 cents, wasn't it? And then 35. And if I remember correctly, it was like this. Oh no, I see. I got too many here. I got to break the pieces out. See, I like instructing trades. I guess too. Right now, this is 45 credit. So what's this trade telling us? Okay. First of all, it's saying if VIX is under 25 and I leave it alone, I get 45 bucks for my trouble. That's part one. Part two, if we should be up around 25. Then this is in the money good up until 29. That's $4. Over 29, then these shorts start to get squeezed. Are we going to 30, whatever? So that's the basic idea of this trade. And it's actually copied off of, or somebody on X posted a Goldman, I think it was a Goldman note or some institutional note of them recommending, what they recommended was this. I think they recommended this and selling the 16 puts, something like that. I didn't like that. So I decided to just fly it. However, I decided to fly it like that. So you can do that for 18-cent credit and just have a regular, have a fly. You want to center the fly so that you don't have as much risk for 4-cent debit, basically a free trade. And there's your kind of insurance protection. Did I answer your question? If it's under, let's go on, I'll go with 5 points of, right. So that's what this trade, that's kind of what this trade, variations of this trade. The other trade that I did, not investment advice, come on guys, you know better than that. And now this is one that I bought when IV was higher, when we were at 22, 23 a few days ago. Again, a broken wing butterfly. I like to break them. July, IV tends to go to sleep. So under 20, over 18 is my beauty zone. And if it goes down here, it doesn't matter because it's a broken wing. So it's 8 and 1. So it's, 2 and 1. So that's $2. That's $2. Lose $1. I think this costs 10 cents or something, 15 cents. This is basically a free trade. But what I looked at before, when those 22s came in, the ones that we saw over here, when these guys came in for the 22, 28s, I guess they were. I don't remember exactly. I did a small one. And again, I'm always going to fly. Sometimes I do them naked ratio, but I know a lot of people don't do that, so I'm not even going to kind of show you that. And something like maybe a 40 on top or something. And I'm always going to break the wing. I'll make it asymmetrical.
Doc, can you hear me
No,
now?
that doesn't look right. I think I have too many. That's why 6. Anyway.
Doc, can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear somebody.
Yeah, thank you. No, what I was asking was IV. Is IV high now, or is it just higher than RV?
Is IV higher or is it just higher than RV?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good question. That's kind of interesting way to look at it. So IV is considered high relative to itself and relative to RV.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think of IV, I'll just pull up a chart for, but to give you a straight answer, I don't think IV is high.
Got it.
I don't think it's low either. I think IV is priced about right. It's priced about right, maybe a little expensive. Maybe a little expensive, especially because we're going into July. Gun to my head, I'd say it's a little expensive because of the way RV has been just getting sucked in. And let's take a look at this just like to kind of try to answer that question. And we'll think it through together.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. So now let's look at it daily first. I don't know. Just to put it, was IV high here at 18? Well, yeah, it was. Look where we were. Was IV high here? Well, apparently not. So it's always this mean reverting comparison to itself and comparison to realize volatility. That's why one of my pet peeves, quote unquote, is when people want to do technical analysis on VIX, a broker trend line or moving average MACD crossover or support resistance. It doesn't work that way. It's a calculation. It's people's bets. But we do know that it works relative to itself, and that there's this mean reverting quality to it. It comes back in, it comes back out. Now, the one, my brother has a moving average system that seems to work, but that's a very short term one. It just kind of catches a flip. But Guru McMillan has a system. Larry McMillan, Lawrence McMillan, author of whatever the book is called, Options Strategy Guide, the Options Bible from 25 years ago, has his VIX spike buy signal, and whenever it comes up, I tweet it out. So he had one that went. So his spike buy signal is 3 points from a local high. So we hit 24 over here, whenever that was, on that May Friday. When we went down to 21, that was a buy. He mechanically buys whatever 30 DTE, 15 wide SPY calls when that happens. That hasn't been negated yet, but I think the timeline on that runs out. I don't know how many days he runs it for. And then he has another potential buy, VIX spike buy. We spiked at around 22, whatever it was, ish. He has it like to the penny, whatever it was. And it was 22. I don't know when we saw it. I don't know why I don't see it. It was 22. I have his note somewhere. Well, near 22. Regardless, if we go down 3 points from 22, let's say 19, that would be a McMillan buy. Common sense tells us if we get below 20 and we can't get above it, then that looks pretty buyish. Now, while we're in this space, let's talk about something else. I mentioned in my weekend note on Twitter and probably in more detail on Substack to my subscribers, something that I noticed, and I noticed it because I follow Nations Index and Scott Nations, and he tweets stuff out, and I look at his stuff, and I look at his website, and he mentioned when we had some of that nastiness the other day, whatever day it was, Thursday, Friday. If we look at TDEX, which is demand for SPY tail puts. Let me find the T. Here we go. TDEX. This is roughly your 5 to 10 delta wings. 30 DTE in SPY, not SPX, but potato. That spiked and is still kind of, up there. So yes, it's come down from I mean, that to me is a whole other story. Let's keep it on a time frame that makes sense to us. Here we had that spike. I guess Tuesday must have been some kind of news, whatever. And it's still kind of spiky. So why do I care about that? And what does this have to do with the price of tea in China? These long puts, customer long, market maker short puts, are potential energy one direction or another. As they decay, and these were expensive, people were chasing them. As they decay, the natural theta decay, market makers are buying back their shorts that they have held against it, buying it back, buying it back, buying it back, eroding. So if the bow doesn't break and the cradle doesn't fall, that's fuel. If, we don't know if then. That's TDEX. SDEX, which is kind of your more traditional convex 20-ish delta, 16 to 25, whatever it is. It's a comparison thing. And also was kind of spiky buy. Also kind of spiky buy. And that stuff, this is already stuff that's around a 20 delta. If IV goes up, that sucks us down. If not, that gives us a nice little Vanna rally. So these are all the little pieces that are in the back of the mind as we're just kind of looking at structures. Now, talking about structures. This is just kind of the world according to me, how I look at all this stuff that I'm looking at. Let's talk about structures a little bit. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here. Now let's go back to this, because this is important. Oh yeah, in August, the end of August and into September, we have the so-called IB whale, termed that by vol signals, and I think by other people too. Why is he called the IB whale? Not to be confused with the IC whale, because he does these big $50, $100 million trades on interactive brokers like you and me, like a retail person. So he's the IB whale. They don't know who he is. Some people think they might know who he is. All we know is he has enough money to piss away on these 20, $50 million trades that he usually hits on. They tend to be very simple trades. His most recent trade was, and let's find it here. I'm jumping around. I know. That's just kind of the way it is. His most recent trade, I think, was in this. Let's look at open interest. We'll get away from. Let's look at open interest. His most recent trade was here. 5,900 all the way down to 5,700, 9,000. A big ass, simple debit spread. Nothing fancy, no selling a wing or a butterfly or going for the IV convex move. Pretty much a straight delta trade. Now, my taste, I would want to get fancy, but I'm not even going to do that right now. Well, that's for another day. That may be for an article of what I might consider, what I may or may not do. I don't know. And then he also has, I think, the same thing for end of August, and Volsigs flags this stuff all the time. Does he have it for the end of August? No, I guess not. I thought he had it for the end of August. Maybe he has it for September. Here he is for September. Look at this. 29,000. Do we have a wiener on the other side of that? 28,000. So obviously he's not the only person in the world trading at 2,900. Okay? So there's a nice big fat chunk of market maker short gamma that we could easily get stuck in out into August, September, the seasonally weak time of year. So let's keep that in the back of our collective minds, quantuition, knowing that that's there and it's just going to shape the curve somehow. Yeah, I don't do a 3D curve. I mean, I have them, I look at them, but you kind of know what's there, what's lurking, and if we start heading down toward there, and if that flips, we kind of got a feel for that. The other thing, by the way, while we're just doing some caveman style stuff, we got this. And Valsig put in his weekend note. We got market makers short gamma at the wings, folks, for July. We got 6,100 customer long, market makers short, potential magnet, potential squeeze up here. And we got, I think this is also up here at 6,150. We got wings. We got right tail hedges. However, if they fail to materialize, then we get that same push down. We also have, I think somebody might have bought a strangle. We also have the same story, more or less. They might have bought a 20, there might have been a 20 delta. Actually, I think it was a 20 delta strangle that they bought. Don't quote me on it, but I noticed it's a 22 delta. So basically, this is the expected move ish. We got it right here, 5,800, 6,100. Okay, this was a 20 delta. Now we moved up. If you wanted to put something like that on now, if you're a crazy person, 6,200, 19,000. And we could look at options depth, or when I do my end of month June write up, once once the JP Morgan collar clears out of the way, we'll have a better idea of what the path into July might look like, and do some kind of write up, or do your own write up. Do your own write up. Let me encourage you to do that. So that's what's going on here. So right now, we're kind of in what Val Signal's called like a calendar kind of spread. Short up here, market maker short there, and market maker long right down here at 5,900. So it's just kind of an odd shape to what's going on. And remember, the 5,900 is this 5,905 JP Morgan short calls. Okay, let me see if there's any. What's in private chat? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, looking to make money. Okay, looking to make money. I'm going to add some wings to that, and I'll put an update somewhere. I'll put it on my Substack for sure. Not investment advice. I keep saying that. My brother's got two kids. Two of his three kids are high-powered lawyers. I'm not allowed to breathe without saying that. Okay, so let's see if there's been any change. 60-40 calls. Do I have the right date here? Let's just make sure. Zero DT calls, right? We don't really need to see the 5,800, 5,900 calls, right? Let's go 5,975 only because there was stuff in that area. So we still have customer long calls here. It looks like debit spready. We ain't getting there. 10,000. I'm not sure what the story with that is. It's none of my business. We have customer short calls here at 20, So going to be hard to make much headway here. We can. It's not a huge amount, but that's what's going on here. It looks like the over 6,000 people are going to be wieners. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, a lot of the people that want the market to be rational, when we had what we had on, let me change this. When we had all the war cloud stuff, let me bring this down. On Thursday, Friday last week, why would the market go? We had the FOMC, we had all that crap. Why would the market go up? It doesn't really matter. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid, is the old saying. And increasingly, I don't think rational is really what plays into this whole game. So here's market maker gamma. So here's long gamma over here, stally, short gamma over here. Now you see how this flipped? This was a stall zone market maker long stall earlier today, and now it's flipped. So there's a lot of trading activity going on around here. Below here, below 15, there's really not a lot in the gamma world that's going to influence this, other than hedging out whatever's left at 6,000. And let's see what's left at 6,000. The DTE. Let's bring it up. Ah. And if people have comments or want, no, that wasn't disrespectful at all. That please be straight up. Wanted it to make money, not for protection. I got you. I got those too. The reason I said for protection is in the Goldman note, or whoever the geniuses were that wrote it, it was more a protection kind of trade. And who am I to butt heads with the mighty Goldman? Oh, thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I always liked teaching. I taught grad school. Uh, I, I enjoy teaching. Doesn't really matter my resume. Um, so now we have this hole over here. We got this at 20. So that was our kind of realistic upside target all along. I shit you not, folks. I shit you not. It's out there on on record. Inflection, top of chop, over the chop zone, if over 60-25 target. It's in print. And then if we could get over here by some crazy thing, extension. I don't think we will, but we could. Something's going on here. So the other thing that I like to do, let's go over here. They got this cute thing, upcoming day. So what does tomorrow look like? Well, it looks like 6,000. We have 56,000, kind of all the hits you know and love. 50, 6,000, 25, 50 on top. Those are where the main features are. That's where stuff is parked out at the round numbers. This is kind of a tad reddish, so that implies that there's customer long stuff over here. There's also something out in, so you gotta remember where the things are. There's also something out in July, and I appreciate Dennis saying teaching because my teaching style, I suppose, at times is not very linear, and it kind of, in a way, mimics kind of combining a number of things. Let's get rid of this. There was something for July. Some of my buddies might remember. There was this big. Here it is. No, is this the one? No, that's not the one. There was an in the money put credit spread. Well, it was in the money before. There was a put credit spread there somewhere around 59, 50, 25 or something, somewhere out here in July. So that's another level, an over under level going into July. And all these numbers, all these levels are mushed into our head. What happens when JP Morgan goes away? If we're at 6,000, it's a very different conversation than if we're at 5,900. Very different conversation. Okay, we got 4 minutes. Magnet, but that's also decay, either or. That red cloud you see there is this. Remember we looked at this zone earlier when we started this broadcast, when we were down here, and we said we'd have to get over this part of the channel for that to have a chance, and then over this part of the channel, and we are. And we are. Whoops, my iPad is dying here. I need to plug it back in. Hold on. And look at that. Look at that. Son of a beach ball. Inflection point. Holy moly. And so what are we up today after all this? Let me take a look. SPX is up 1%. Look at that. They stabbed it with their steely life. We can't live captain. Can you hear me? Who's talking? Okay, yeah, oh, that was from before. I'm just getting this screen share. So war in Iran, or whatever you want to call it, the structured rules. I mean, and this is why, yeah, I look at lines on the chart and all that kind of stuff. But knowing where the structure is, you know, you know where the landmines are, you know where the inflection points are, and you know what to expect when you get there. Do you expect a big move or a little move? Okay, so here we are, and Oh, so the IC whale might be coming to town today. Did we have an outside day today? What was the top of the expected move? Anybody have that? It was in my notes. Um, Let me look at my own notes. Because and if not, it's easy enough to see the IC wheel when he shows up. Although he's going to show up small today, his first line. And I have figured out his secret sauce. It's not that hard. You're tracking him, and I've actually improved on his secret sauce, I think. And stay tuned for that, folks. More will be revealed there. I think we had an outside day today by his reckoning. And if we did, and if we didn't, I'm going to call it close enough. And I'm going to put on my own version. This is not what you're going to see when I roll out what I'm thinking of. And it won't be as mechanical as him. It's going to be also related to gamma and all that. So we don't need open interest to see what's going on here. We need delta because it tends to be around the 20 delta. Look at 8. Now, I don't know if this is him or not. I'm not willing to make that call. But doing that style trade, I want to be a little safer. See, that's not bad. And what do we got on the bottom? See, in the morning we have put skew. And I know what I said, the equidistant. PC disconnected. Okay, apparently it's connected. The 20 delta put was down at 20, 59.20. So I don't know if they're now, okay. Are we willing to say that 45 is a good number? A buck five? Kind of chintzy. 90 cents, 5 cents for fun, but that's not really the trade that I like. All right, that doesn't want to fill. We'll just leave it work there. Trade that's kind of more in that style would be, let's look at this. That's good, 90 cents. And on the bottom, no, see, I can't do it fast enough. Let's just get rid of this crap. Okay, these deltas are quickly running away from us. No, the put side's running away on me. Nope. All right, so we have to say that that 75 inflection point, 20 delta on the bottom. I'd like to be a little further away. And on top, looks like there's kind of in the call skewy area. That's not bad. Third the width of the spread. Something like that. If I had more time, I'd play with it a little more. If you wanted to be a little, I might do one more. 175. And something like this. That's a quarter the width of the spread. That can get dangerous. I'm going to do one for fun, and then I'll mess around with it later. Tomorrow I can add pieces. Let me just talk to you guys about what I mean when I say add pieces. All right, so I'm sitting with this structure here, right? Now, yes, I have risk exposed. But if I want to do this for 80 cents, suddenly I have, or even like that for $1.45, I got more than that in credit. Suddenly I have $10 here for $1.50. That gives me breathing room, or I could kind of fly it like that. I could do the same thing on the top. On the top, we say, oh, 50 sounds like a good number. You know what it does? $1.55. Maybe. Or maybe something like that. And so I would do something like that. Close. Today was a pain. Oh, Brad. Today was fake pain or real pain? I don't know if today was fake pain or real pain. And if I wanted to do my usual chicken shit trades, wow, look at that. Look at how much juice there is even at 6,100 or 60.75. What's the expected move? 38.40. And so where'd we close at 25? So let's just call it 40 is 65 on top. So I'm right in the teeth of the expected move, but that doesn't add up because of the deltas. And what's 40 points below us? 40 points below us, 25 is 80. Down here, that's your 22 delta. If we look at where the 20 deltas are rather than the points, the 20 delta put is here at $6. We'll call the 21 delta is here at $5. That's even a higher delta. So we still have, skewed to the downside, which we would expect. We wouldn't not expect that. Anyway, I've been babbling along. I promised the guy that's helping me with the goats and that's working on the property with me that I would wrap up because if some of you have seen my video, we did a little free range experiment, letting the goats out and having them just wander around outside the pen. And my little Samoyed kind of chased them around, just kind of automatic pilot, dog tuition. And so now we have a field that used to be a wheat field where the farmer used to grow wheat. The farmer is no longer growing here. He used to rent the field from the old guy, now the previous owner. So we're going to put them out on the field now and see what happens. That's kind of how I trade sometimes. Let's see what happens. That's for science. So for science, they're going to go out on the field, and it's really not that dangerous of an experiment because if you take a bucket of grain and you shake it, they're going to come running and they're going to jump on you and knock you over. So, there's a method to the madness. Okay, bye. Have a great day. And I'll see if we can make some videos, and I'm sure people on Twitter will love to see it. Okay. Take care, everybody. Thanks for indulging me. Have a great day.